Describe the beauty of a rose. When we consider a rose's beauty, it puts the poet's pen to test. It puts the orator's eloquence to test, to see if they can really see and say what a rose merits.
All right.
One poet wrote, "The wayside rose holds out its fragrant arms, and with its beauty our eyes it charms." A rose, in one definition, is not only a beautiful flower, but a form of a gem. All that philosophers have said in their meditations, all that singers have sung in their hymns, gives us just a little glimpse into what Isaiah meant when he said the wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as a rose.
Right.
In this one sentence, Isaiah simulates life with the desert and blossoming roses. What a provocative contradiction. The desert and blossoming. The desert, the desolate desert, the dreary desert with its cracks in the ground that seem like parched lips that cry for rain. The desert with its hot sands that burn your eyes as the wind blows across them. In the desert, where the hiss of the serpent is heard. In the desert, where the howl of the wolf disturbs the stillness of the night. In the desert, where the coughing of coyotes is unpleasant to the ear.
All right.
The desert, the desolate, the dreary desert. There, Isaiah declares, shall be rejoicing
Reverend.
and blossoming roses. Well, Mama McLean, it seems that's the way it always is. It just seems like, Sister Withel, it's always the desert, then the roses.
All right. Bishop. Right.
This was true in Noah's day. When after the terrible time when God hurled oceans over mountain ranges and drowned the world that had hated him, when they should have loved him, should have been obeying him, yet they had forsaken and defied him. So he smote the world with the flood, and only those that were in the ark were saved. And even though it took some time to discover land, there was a desert. When they finally found ground, the roses bloomed again.
Yes, sir.
This was true of Abraham. When God told him to take Isaac, whom he loved, and offered him there on the mountaintop, Abraham did what God said, making the 3 days journey. He came in sight of the mountain that night, an hour of despair, an hour of night, an hour that the congregation would kill the other half. That was a desert. But when Abraham had the knife ready to take Isaac's life, God called Abraham's name. Abraham answered and turned and saw a ram with his horns caught in the thicket, and took that and offered it instead of his son Isaac. In other words, the desert became an Eden, a garden of the Lord. And where there had been nothing but desolation for Abraham, the roses bloomed again. What about David?
What about it?
Pursued by Saul. I'm about to cut the corner. David was an outlaw.
Right.
Running from the king. Like a hare would run from a hound. That was a desert for David. But there came a time when David would be on the throne. There came a time when they crowned David king of Judah, and then king of Israel and Judah. Certainly for David, the roses bloomed again. What about Joseph? I'm trying to preach. Sold into slavery in Egypt because of the jealousy of his brothers over that coat of many colors. Joseph put in jail because of the lying lips of Potiphar's wife. A desert for sure, until he interpreted Pharaoh's dream. Became the governor of the land, wearing the keys of the kingdom at his girdle. Joseph recognized his brother and he spoke to them and said, "You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good." Joseph's roses bloomed again.
All right.
400 years, there was a time of desolation. When the wilderness and not a flower of garden, time when religion and idolatry were holding hands, and when the hands of hypocrisy were playing upon the hearts of formalism.
Watch yourself.
Then came the shepherds and worship at a manger, above which they had put out a bright star. The wise men, there with their gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh, came to worship. The shepherds came at a cattle trough in a barn. For this world, so long a desolate race, the rose bloomed through him who was called the Rose of Sharon.
All right, Bishop.
Well, Jesus himself did not escape the desert. He was put under the terrible heel of death on the cross. And the day came when Jesus died.
All right.
Nobody called him Lord except a dying thief. And the kingdom about which he had taught in the minds of the disciples had shrunk to the narrow dimensions of a grave. Death, with his skeleton heel, had crushed out the lily of the valley. Death, whose only pleasure is fountains of failing tears, had closed the eyes that shed tears over Jerusalem. Death, whose only music is a sob of broken hearts, had hushed the mouth that spake as never a man spake. The disciples saw their hopes go down beyond that bloody hill. And somebody said, there is a fountain filled with blood, drawn from Emmanuel's veins, and sinners plunged beneath that flood, lose all their guilt and stain. Shout yes! Whoa! Take me to E flat. But on the third day morning, up from the grave he arose. The roses bloomed again. Well, my family, though this bereavement has come and taken our tender flock, even though now we feel the desert experience, I can't hear nobody. It's rough, it's dry, it's barren, it's parched. Yes, this is a desert-like experience. It's desolate. It's lonely. I can't hear nobody. It's dismal. It's gloomy. It's stormy. But I came to tell you, I got good news. Is there anybody here that want to hear my good news? I got good tabernacle is dissolved, we have a building of God, a house not made with hands. Shout yes! Shout yes! Nudge your neighbor and say, neighbor, this rose will bloom again, for we are confident. I say willing, rather to be absent from the body and to be present with the Lord. Tell your neighbor, say, neighbor, this rose will bloom again. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. I can't hear nobody. In a moment, in a twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. I can't hear nobody shouting. Shout yes! Grab your neighbor by the hand. I said, grab your neighbor by the hand. I said, grab your neighbor. Come on, family, get up. I said, get up, get up, get up. And grab your neighbor by the hand. Shake them.